All right, let me ask you something. What if I told you there's a martial art where the whole point is not to fight? Yeah, it sounds like a total contradiction, right? But that's exactly what's at the heart of Aikido. It's a practice that doesn't just show you how to deal with conflict, but how to completely change what conflict even is. And that's the big question, isn't it? How can something we call a martial art actually be a path to peace? When you really start to dig into that question, it forces you to rethink everything you thought you knew about winning. It's this huge shift away from a mindset of just destroying an opponent and toward one of, and believe me, this sounds weird, connection. And this single idea from Aikido's founder Morihei Ueshiba is really the key that unlocks the whole thing. He said true victory meant having no enemies. Think about that. It's not about beating someone. It's about getting to a place where the whole idea of having an enemy just fades away. Okay, so how did a philosophy like this even come into being? Well, to get it, you really have to look at the founder's own life. His story is this incredible journey from being an absolute master of lethal battlefield combat arts to someone searching for deep inner peace. And look, Ueshiba was no stranger to violence. He was a master of some incredibly brutal, effective fighting styles. I mean, he taught in a place literally called the Hell Dojo. But then, around 1925, something completely changed. He had this profound spiritual experience, a moment of clarity, where he realized the true purpose of Budo, of the martial way, wasn't to take life, but to protect it. And that became his life's work, to take these deadly ancient techniques and reshape them into an art of harmony. So that's the philosophy. But how does it actually work? You know, when someone is literally throwing a punch at you? Well, the genius of Aikido is that it doesn't just give you a different way to react to an attack. It completely changes how you even define the attack in the first place. Just look at the difference here. Most martial arts are about opposition, right? You meet force with more force. You block a punch. Aikido's approach is the total opposite. It's about blending, about becoming one with the movement. So instead of stopping a punch, you move with it. You connect that energy and guide it somewhere else, somewhere safe. And this four-step process is pretty much the core of every Aikido technique. But notice the flow here. It's kind of counterintuitive. First, you enter. You actually move toward the attack, not away from it. Then you turn, you pivot, you redirect that energy. And the final goal, it's not to hurt the other person. It's to restore balance. In a way, the attack itself becomes the very tool you use to resolve the conflict. And this is where things get really deep. It's a total shift in how you see the other person. They're not your opponent anymore. They're like a mirror. Their attack shows you everything about yourself. Where do you hold tension? Are you afraid of falling? Do you have this need to control everything? Suddenly, every single move on the mat is a silent conversation about what's going on inside you. Okay, but how is any of this actually possible? How can you redirect someone's full force without just being stronger than them? The secret, if you want to call it that, lies in a set of, invisible tools. These are internal skills that let you generate power from your core, from the inside out. The first of these is something called shisei, which we translate as posture. But don't think of a stiff, rigid stance. It's more like a perfectly balanced spinning top. It's this inner state of balance, this relaxed readiness that lets you move in any direction, instantly, with almost zero effort. Then you have kokyu, or breath. And this is way more than just breathing in and out. In Aikido, your breath is the engine. It's what connects your mind to your body, your intention to your movement. A technique isn't just a collection of motions. It's something that is literally carried on your breath, getting your whole body to move as one powerful, unified whole. And that brings us to the hara, which is your center of gravity, right in your lower abdomen. This is the real wellspring of your power. So instead of trying to muscle through something with your arms, you learn to move from your center. Your arms and legs just become extensions of that core power, kind of like the end of a whip, channeling all that energy that's generated from the middle of your body. Now, developing these internal skills, it doesn't just happen anywhere. It needs a very specific kind of environment. And that, of course, brings us to the dojo, a place that is so much more than just a gym or a training hall. Yeah, see, a gym is where you go to work on your muscles. But an Aikido dojo, it's a laboratory for the self. It's this special, controlled space where you can safely play with these deep principles of conflict, connection, and awareness, away from all the noise and chaos of the outside world. And every little thing in this laboratory has a purpose. That bow you see, it's not just about being polite, it's an unspoken promise to practice with sincerity and to trust your partner. The traditional uniform, the hakama, even its folds represent virtues like honor and loyalty. And the silence? It's not empty. It's a powerful tool that helps you learn to listen, not with your ears, but with your entire body. So in this space, the training mat, the tatami, it really does become a mirror. In that shared silence through just physical movement, you start to see yourself so clearly. All your automatic reactions, your habits, your fears, they're all reflected back at you, without judgment, giving you a chance to really understand yourself. All right, so what's the end game here? What's the point of all this training? Well, it's not just about getting good at techniques on a mat. The real goal is to take everything you learn inside the dojo and carry it out into your everyday life. I mean, if you had to boil Aikido down to one single goal, this would be it. The aim isn't to become some unbeatable fighter. The aim is to fundamentally change how you relate to confrontation itself. It's about learning how to transform a conflict, not just win it. And this is why it matters. This is the real practice. The way you learn to enter and blend with a physical attack becomes a kind of bodily metaphor for how you can handle a tough conversation at work or a disagreement with a loved one. The idea is to face all of life's challenges with that same centered, calm, non-aggressive mindset you work so hard to find in the dojo. And this quote just nails it. Harmony is not the absence of conflict. Aikido isn't promising you a life with no problems. Instead, it offers you something much more valuable. The ability to move through that conflict, to navigate the chaos without ever losing your center. Which brings us to the final provocative thought that Aikido leaves us with. Just think about this. What if every single confrontation you faced in your life, big or small, wasn't a fight to be won? What if, instead, it was an invitation? An invitation to find your own balance, to connect with a situation, and to actually create a little harmony where there was once only conflict.